Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What is good? What is good? What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, you know who I be. Good Doc, Dr. Mike TV, back again, once again. You already know what it is, baby. You already know what it is. First time to the channel, guys. Make sure you subscribe, notify, do all the good things to make yourself well versed in the Good Docs content. All of my good stuff shall be listed in the links in the description area below. Official time check, ladies and gentlemen, 9:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:08 p.m. Central, roughly about 6:08 for everybody ripping that West Coast, and of course, 9:08 in the a.m. Philippine Standard Time. Wherever you guys are reporting in the world today, maraming salamat sa lahat. Thank you guys for joining the Good Doc on this particular live stream today, which is poised to become a classic in the making. All right, so let me politic with y'all real quick, man, because this is interesting. All right, so I always get a lot of backlash. I wouldn't even call it backlash, but I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of questions from all of my friends here in the United States, and to an extent, some of them raise some pretty valid points. All right, I must be honest in my assessment when I talk about these things, because it's not always just one-sided. Some things that people say when they have these conversations, sometimes they bring up pretty valid points. Okay, so my friends often ask me, Doc, why in the world would you want to even consider moving to a third world country, especially one like the Philippines? And in the beginning, I would play with them a little bit, and I'll be like, "What do you mean? Like, what's wrong with the Philippines, right?" Because I know they're gonna give me some very outdated answers and stuff. That's my expectation for the most part. But they'll be like, they be robbing people over there, they be kidnapping people over there. It's a poor country, all that stuff. So you're gonna get those particular answers. But then again, when you start to deal with people who kind of have a little bit of education behind them, they start to say some really valid things like, Doc, what about the infrastructure in the Philippines? I mean, is it up to par? I mean, what about the healthcare system? My God, it still is a third world country. Is the healthcare system up to par over there? And these are for my people who are on the outside looking in. They've never been to the Philippines yet. They always have an opinion about the Philippines, but sometimes they say some things that make you think about why in the world would us, expats, foreigners living in the United States or in anywhere in the world that you guys are clocking in right now, why in the world would we, us, them, why would we consider moving to a third world country? And I have to be honest with you, as I get older, guys, I do sometimes ask myself the exact same thing. All right. I ask myself often, Doc, why do you want to move there for? Like, really, what is it about the Philippines that makes you really just want to keep returning year after year for vacation? And what is it about the Philippines that when you finally clock out, you punch your last ticket, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hop on a plane and you're probably going to choose the Philippines, likely, as my touchdown home country? Why? Bakit? Why? And sometimes I find it hard to answer that question, and I can only answer it purely by telling my friends, you would know what I mean if you've ever been there. If you've spent any amount of time in the Philippines, you will know what I mean. And it's not just the women at all. It's not just one thing or the other. It's what it all encompasses. It's what it all encompasses, ladies and gentlemen. It's about your mindset. It's about what it is about any particular country that you choose to go. Now, when I'm getting questioned and bombarded with questions, everybody's like, Doc, why not Japan, bro? Why not South Korea, bro? If you want to stay in the Asia region, I mean, there's still Thailand, there's Vietnam, there's Cambodia. My God, there are so many different places you could choose to go. Why the Philippines? Why a third world country, Doc? And I have to tell them, you will have to be there in order to experience what life is like for a foreigner in the Philippines. It's never the same thing every day. It's not just one particular thing that I can pick and choose to say, bam, this right here is the reason why I want to go to the Philippines. Bam, this is the reason why I have to stay in the Philippines. It's all encompassing. There are certain things that I can experience in the Philippines that maybe I could experience in other countries, but maybe it just won't be as fun. There are certain things about the Philippines that I can honestly say have had a negative impact on a lot of foreigners, but it's just something you get over. Because overall, if you think about time spent in country, what you can fulfill while in country, things that you can benefit, things that you can experience, you're probably going to say the exact same thing. Sometimes it's not so much about what you hear about a country, it's the vibe that you get when you get there. That's it. Now, again, health scares are going to be a problem. And I want to discuss that with you guys tonight because healthcare issues is a main concern of my own. I'm not trying to grow up to in my elder years and believe that I'm still going to be the same person that I was when I was in my 30s or, in my early 20s or even when I was like 18 or 19 years old. I'm not going to have the expectation that I'm going to have the same vibe back then that I'm going to have years from now. I have to literally focus on what it is that I enjoy most about the Philippines. That's going to propel me to make that decision for the long term. Now, again, I've often told you guys, and I never shitted on any other country. I've never talked down about another country, but I believe that I've often told you guys, generally, the Philippines is where it's at for me. I like it. I enjoy it. I become who I am in the country. I appreciate the energy, the vibe that I get from being in the country. But overall, I have been there for quite a long time, And when I say set up the Philippines as like a home base for myself, I'm not talking about, it's going to be the Philippines or bust, or, it's only the Philippines and I'm just going to stay there forever. I'm not going to want to explore different places. No. Philippines will just be a home base, and I will plan to get around like I would or like any other foreigner would. But it's a third world country, Doc. They don't have what they have in the United States. They don't do the same thing as the United States can do for you. What's so special about the Philippines, bro? What's so special about these third world countries? It's a lot of things, bro. It's a lot of shit. Okay? And I understand everybody's reasons will be different. That's why I can only share an opinion based off of my own personal experiences. Why you guys may choose the Philippines as your home base or your destination once you're done, you have your reasons, and I have my reasons as well. To be honest with you, I can name probably 5 different things off the top of my head that really attract me to the country. Do they have top-notch medical facilities? Absolutely. They have some of the best facilities that I've seen in Southeast Asia, but they're not all over the country. You understand? They're only in certain locations. So if you're going to move to the Philippines now, if you're going to be in your elder years, now you have to start making decisions about your health. How far do you want to live from the high quality hospital or medical service centers? We know what they are. St. Luke's, a couple of hospitals in Makati. I'm sure Cebu has a couple of great hospitals as well. And Davao, the only hospital I can vouch for is Davao Doctors. They had a couple of Chinese private-owned hospitals that I haven't been to. They may be good. They may be bad. I don't know. But ideally, you can list off at least 5 good hospitals in the Philippines. But now that's the place that you choose to be in. Now you have to live next to these particular hospitals in order to get valuable health care that you hope that you would be able to receive. But that means now you can't really live out in the province if that's what you wanted to do. If you wanted to live out in the province because it's cheaper to live in the city, you don't want to be too far from the city because that's like an hour drive, and who knows if what's going to happen between that time that you get, from your particular place to get to the city. If you die or something because you're too far from a reputable, respectable hospital, then what are you going to do? You see, there's just too many factors to factor in, which is why I ask you guys. Out of all the countries we would want to live in, or all the countries you would choose to live in, if the Philippines would be your choice, it's a third world country. Why would you choose a third world country to call your home when you're ready to when you're ready to retire? It's always a question, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a question that's going to be a burning question from here until eternity, because you can't expect, this is the caveat, you cannot expect Philippine healthcare to be on par with United States healthcare. You just cannot. I'm not going to sit here and say that the United States has their shit together all the way through and through. I get it. But even though you can't have that expectation, you damn sure want to be next to somebody, or at least in a country or a place where they could give you something as close to the best possible healthcare you possibly can receive. I will tell you this. I will put my hand on a stack of Bibles if I could right now. I would never have major surgery in the Philippines. If I had to have major surgery, I'm coming back home to the United States of America. If I was in the Philippines right now and the doc told me, look, bro, we have to go in and we got to get this shit done, I'm booking a ticket and I'm going back home, because there's no way in this world I'm trusting my hands in the healthcare system in the Philippines. I'm just not yet at that level. I'm not that comfortable with it, guys. I'm not even going to cap. I'm not comfortable with it. I've seen a lot of bad things happen. I've shared the story with you before, and I'm going to share it with you one more time. Now, again, this particular hospital will not be named, but and I can't say that this would represent one of the best quality facilities. So I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, you can expect this to happen to you in the Philippines if you have major surgery, because that's not true. I'm just speaking from a experience that I know to be accurate. My young lady's uncle, my girl's uncle, had major surgery. He was diabetic and he needed to have his leg amputated. You guys have probably heard the story, but I'm going to share it again. Had to have his leg amputated. These motherfuckers amputated the wrong leg. So they had to go back. They had to amputate the other one. He ended up becoming a double amputee and then dying like 2 weeks later. First of all, how the hell you amputate the wrong damn leg? How in the hell do you amputate the wrong leg? Kind of shit is that? That right there was my wake-up call to say, you know what? We might need to start reconsidering our thoughts on where we choose to live and how close we choose to be to reputable establishments. I'm not doing any major surgery at all. If I get sick, a little cough or some shit, and I just need some antibiotics, man, I'm going to the pharmacy, getting some Zithromax, some amoxicillin. I'm popping them shits, and I'm good to go. But if it's major, if I got some shit that really needs to be dealt with, I can't do that in the Philippines. Why? That's just one of those things I'm not ready for. And again, that's something you have to consider. And this is something that has been a question that has been raised amongst the community for quite a long time. I'm not the first one to raise this concern as far as being an expat in the Philippines, and I damn sure won't be the last to do it. But I'm going to put it in your mind because I need to stimulate the intellect, and I damn sure need you to think about these things before you choose the Philippines as your home base. I know how I'm going to try to handle that situation should that situation occur. I'm putting plans in place now that will put me in a position to where if I need to get out and I need to do my thing, I can go. Major surgery will never happen for me in the Philippines. I don't care if they tell me, boy, you need to get this taken care of right now or your ass gonna die. Fly me to Guam or some shit. Shout out to my boy. I know my boys out there in Guam. Shout out to, I'll send me to Guam. Fuck it. Three. That's a 3-hour flight. Send me somewhere else. It ain't gonna happen here. it can't, you know. But it's a reality, you know, and certain things scare me. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I don't think about all of the negative things that could potentially happen to me in the Philippines as a result of being an expat in the Philippines. Okay. There's certain things you got to think about. If you do not put your health first, there's an issue there. And whether you're paying attention to your health or not, anything dramatic can happen. I mean, anything can happen to you at the drop of a dime. What are you going to do when that happens? You're all the way in a third world country. Granted, they speak good English. let's be honest. They speak good English, so you should hopefully be able to communicate what your problem is. But you're halfway around the world, and you have to make the life or death decision to do something on the spot. Is the Philippines the place where you want to be making that life or death situation? is that where you really want to be when it happens? Understand, man. I think about it all, and I think my brothers out there, y'all think about that too. All right. So like I said, man, we got 15 in the building, man. I appreciate y'all coming through, showing love to Doc. Y'all know the rules, man. Y'all make sure y'all get the likes up for the good Doc. Y'all make sure y'all caress, molest, and distress yourself all over that like button. It wants it, it needs it, it most definitely has to have it. You guys want to support the good Doc, hey, please feel free to do so. But of course, I am happy and blessed you choose to come through. Spend a little bit of time with your boy today. Now you and then. Let's go ahead and shout out the brothers who have decided to show up and show the Doc some love. My brother Edward Crandell, appreciate you coming through. My man, Mr. Pissed Off Bus Driver, let's not be so mad today. We don't have to be angry all the time. I guess answering the question why we would want to move to a third world country is how much they pay. Again, that is cheaper. It is cheaper in the Philippines. That's definitely, if that's what you mean. That's definitely a reason why I myself, at the top of the list, it would definitely constitute one of the main reasons I would opt to spend the majority of my time in country, because I know that my dollar will go a long way, and definitely a long way than it would probably in the United States. You know, even though inflation is a mother anywhere that you go, I do know that my dollar will hold a little bit more weight in the Philippines than it likely would in the United States. So for me, that does rank in my top 5 reasons as to why I would want to settle in and call the Philippines my home. But with all of the good, we can't overlook the bad or the negative or the things that we should question as foreigners looking to make the move to the Philippines. Even if it isn't long term, we have to have plans in place that will take care of us should shit hit the fan. All right, because if we're not there, it's an issue. My boy SML, what's good with you, man? Tom Patrick, what's good with you, man? Salamat salahat. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys locking in. I hope you guys have been able to drop that like. Appreciate that. He says, shit, check a real estate site so you can get a damn mansion for $200K. I hope that's in pesos. No, a mansion. Oh, you probably mean a mansion in $200,000. Yeah, you can. But the thing is, those condo prices are iffy. So if you're looking to get a house, it's a lot to deal with, man. But again, man, it depends on your lifestyle as that foreigner in the Philippines or that expat in the Philippines. It depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what your outlook is. How do you want to live your best life in the Philippines? How do you want to do it? You can definitely build one for cheaper. Okay, I will say that you can definitely build a house for cheaper. I had a friend in Cebu who's married to my girl's best friend. Good guy, man. I love this guy. He bought a house for 8M in pesos. It's up there in the mountains of Cebu, like in the hills and shit. From the pictures that I've seen, it's a very beautiful house. But if you build one or you buy one that's already built, as far as real estate is concerned, I'm scared of the structure of the. And that's also another thing that us as foreigners have to think about, guys. The structure, the places where we're choosing to live at. Do you want a condo? Do you want a house? What is it, or what type of property do you want for yourself? You know, where do you feel the most comfortable? In your own house? Do you want to live in a condo? So just in case you leave that thing empty, you know, you ain't got to worry about nobody breaking into your shit. I mean, there's 100 different things to think about as far as that's concerned as well. But if you do have a house, if you buy one that's already built, you have to think about the infrastructure. You have to think about how it was built. You got to think about the piping, the plumbing. You know, it's not like in the United States. This is a reality check that a lot of y'all gonna have to really get right. If you want to buy a property, make sure y'all get the likes up for the good Doc. Please, pretty please. I ain't begging, but I'm asking. All right, because likes are free. But you know how in the United States, when you sell a house and stuff like that, you know, you go through the process of having inspectors come through and check on the property and do all that extra stuff. You think they do that shit in the Philippines? No. And honestly, if you think an inspector is going to come through and check your shit, do you honestly think they're going to favor the Filipino person that's probably selling you the property, or are they going to favor you, the foreigner man? Just something that I want you to think about. Just put that in your intellect for a second. So buying a house that's already built is very sketchy. It's very skeptical. You really have to have your shit together if that's really what you really want to do. Do I recommend it? None the least. Because buying a house that's already built, you can't expect it. At least if you're building your own house, which takes so much time. My dad built a house in the Philippines. I think it took 6 months to get it done, which isn't bad, but that's hotel living for 6 months. That's paying hotel bills for 6 months. And, you know, he had it, but it's the point, though. It's an exhausting process. Then you have to go every single day to make sure the property's being built, or you have to pay somebody to go check on it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into property in the Philippines and real estate and all of that jazz. And yeah, man, you might be able to get you a beautiful, beautiful house for $200K, nice mansion. But is it going to be built up to par? Is the money going to be worth the amount that you spent for it? And what kind of problem could potentially be? Because unless you know how to inspect the shit yourself, you're not going to have really a lot of inspectors come through and check out property and at least be able to do it thoroughly, knowing where to check for leaks, knowing to make sure the foundation is structurally sound and all of that good jazz. And I don't know nothing about real estate, but I know that much. I don't know a damn thing about real estate, but I at least know that. And the paperwork is exhausting. It's a lot to think about, bro. It's a lot to think about. He says, only to go around the world with Venus. I must have missed the comment prior. But truth, man, I'm telling you guys, there are a lot of things to think about when it comes to why a foreigner in his right mind would want to choose the Philippines as his home base. Because it comes in the form of a third world country, man. There's nothing but poverty around the Philippines. Nobody wants to move to the Philippines. Everybody broke over there. All they do is beg on foreigners. Why would a foreigner in his right mind want to move to a third world country? The funny thing is, though, for people on the outside looking in, they actually believe that the picture that's the thumbnail for this one, the shanties and the old makeshift houses and the shit like that you see a lot of, you know, Filipinos that are going through it that live in those. They actually believe that that's the only type of houses foreigners can have in the Philippines. Bro, relax, my guy, relax. That's not the only type of property that exists in the Philippines. And for those in the know, you understand? You know that. But now that brings and begs another question. Where do you actually want to live in the Philippines? If you live in the provincial areas and you do build that 200K mansion, or you live in such a big ass house, are you not going to be skeptical or at least timid about the idea that you're going to be a target for the people in the barangay? Bro, probably the biggest house on the block, or the biggest house in the neighborhood, the biggest house in barangay, the biggest house in the city, if you choose to live that lifestyle, of course. Are you not going to be skeptical that you're going to be a target? And then again, we talked about not Medicare, but medical care and all of that jazz. Now you need to move towards the city. In the city, you're not going to be able to have a house that big. Well, you could, but you know, it's going to cost you a little bit more than that 200. And then, you know, you got to think about all that other stuff too. You could still be a target. BGC is not a bad place to live at all. I think I'd feel safe in BGC, but BGC costs money. If you're willing to pay for that kind of money, you could do that. But again, the Philippines is not built the same. All the shit is not built the same. You have poor areas, you have rich areas. Do you want to live in a poor area? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Yes, granted, if you live in a poor area, your money will probably go a little bit longer than if you live in a city. But do you really want to sacrifice your safety and all of the above to live in an area that's cheap? Riddle me that, Batman. Do you really want to sacrifice your safety to live in a place because it's cheap? Don't get me wrong. Doc is a human being. I like to save $1 or $1 be saved. It's just my nature. I don't know what it is about me. That's just me. But there are certain things I'm not willing to sacrifice, and one of them is my safety and my sanctity and my sanity. I can't sacrifice those for cheap shit. So do I want to live, or do I want to get a house at a hostel or a boarding house where the only thing that's protecting the property is like a padlock on the door or some shit, or a little chain on the door that if somebody kicks and you can knock it off? Do I really want to risk my life to live in a place like that because I'm trying to stretch $1? Do I want to share a space with somebody so that I can save $1? Do I want to get a house all the way in the Bookies so that I can save me a little bit of money? Yeah, the travel to the city may not be as much, or it may not be as far, but do I want to live all the way out in the sticks to save $1? There's a lot of things that come into consideration. Again, I'm the cheapest they come. I'm sorry. I know me. I know myself. But it comes a time in every man's life when you got to realize that your safety, you can't put a price tag on your safety. You know what I'm saying? You can't put a price tag on what you value most, which I hope is your own life and the life of the ones that depend on you and care about you, you know? So again, third world country, how far out of the city do we want to live? Do we want to live in the poor areas because it's cheaper? Do we want to live in the rich areas because it may be a little bit safer, but it's going to cost us a little bit more money? Or do we want to find that middle ground? Do we want to find that middle range? Like, where is the middle range for that? The questions that if you don't ask those questions now, it's going to be a problem down the line. All right. My man Jamal, what's good with you, brother? He says, y'all killing me tonight. A lot of good streams. International Passports got his live stream going about the Philippines. Got one on Vietnam. Trying to watch them all as well. Bro, you can always come back to me later, man. The replay will remain. So if you guys got other shit that you need to do, Doc is not going to be heartbroken. Do what you got to do. So you got to go where you feel like you need to get the best information possible. I consider myself like a little indie channel. I really starting to think that. I appeal to a certain group of people. Not everybody rocks with Doc. I am not as palatable as I thought that I was, but I'm okay with that. But I like this little indie feel that I got with my channel, wherein like only people who know about me have heard about me through friends, or you know, they just know that when they come to me, they know what they're going to expect. So it's not so much a shock or a surprise when you actually show the fuck up. So I dig that vibe. I love being this small channel. Like I used to beg to have 1 million subscribers. Like, bro, I'm at like 1 million subscribers and shit. I used to think that shit. Then I realized the section that I service is very limited, is very niche. So you got to be careful with how you feel about that. Then I realized that, man, when I hit 5K, man, when I hit 3K, I stopped caring. But as we grew, you know, and as more people started to find out about me, and I started getting comments from people who be like, Doc, you're not as bad as I thought. Then I say, you know what, man, if we grow, we grow. If we don't, my little corner of the world over here, we're going to rock out as often as possible. And I'm going to continue to deliver the content that I know some of y'all may be looking for. All right. But love to y'all. My man, learning something worldwide. Speaking English is a major bonus. You're exactly right. I believe that being an English-speaking country in Asia definitely puts the Philippines above a lot of other countries, wherein English is a language that provides a lot of wonderful opportunities for Filipinos. And as a result, us foreigners are able to benefit from that because, again, like I said, man, the language barrier, it's not hard to cross the language barrier, especially when a lot of Filipinos actually do understand English. Now, you got to be careful with your slang words and all of that good jazz. But if you speak to them proper and you speak to them the right way, excuse me, they'll be able to understand you and hopefully be able to speak it back to you in a way that you can pick up on it as well. Healthcare in the province is scary at best. Yeah, bro, that's nightmare shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's nightmare. That's a nightmare in the making. But that's where a lot of foreigners want to live. So now you're really forced to make some very, very rational decisions. Yeah, I want to live in the province because it's cheap, it's peaceful. I don't have to worry about the noise. I can live my best life. But how far are you from the nearest good hospital? It doesn't even have to be a great hospital, but how far are you from the nearest good hospital? I'm not talking about some makeshift shit. No, some makeshift shit that they put up in the community where just next door to you, where fucking they're killing chickens on one side of that shit, and on the other side they're over there rotisserie in that bitch. No, we're not talking about the makeshift buildings and shit that they may put like certain types of hospital or medical treatment centers in. No, none of that shit. A hospital with an emergency room wherein you can go there and you can sit there and have somebody take care of you and all of that shit. How far are you from the nearest one of those? If you're far as hell from it, as you age, just in case you see. Now, let me make sure I make this clear. When I talk about as you age and potential healthcare issues, some people age very well. Some people are still healthy at certain ages in their life. They don't have too many healthcare issues. But then again, like I said, anything can happen, guys. 1 minute you're dope, 1 minute you're happy, 1 minute you're living your best life, the next minute your health deteriorates. It just can happen at any moment. So how far are you from a place that you trust enough to have them, for you to put your health care and your welfare in their hands? How far are you from a place like that in the Philippines? That's the question you need to ask yourself. I love the Philippines. I disagree with it being a third world country. The Philippines is ranked 27 in the gross domestic product. Yeah, the GDP. I know what you mean. And ideally, there was somebody who made the comment a long time ago in a video about the ideology behind first world, second world, and third world countries. And they made some pretty valid points. I don't know. I don't know what I mean. You know that a third world country is considered third world because it's considered developing and not developed. That's the overall general consensus of how most people would constitute a third world country. So rather than calling them a third world country, they just refer to them as developing countries. Shit. Is the Philippines a third world country? There are people who are going to agree and disagree with that one. But if you look online and you ask Google, we'll just bank on Google to give us the proper information. If you bank on Google, Google's going to tell you, hey, Philippines is considered a third world country. It may or may not be, but that is what it is. But yeah, Philippines, they definitely have. How can I say this? They definitely have products that they produce that they could definitely mass ship, and it could bring some value to the country. I know that. So it's just a matter of how they utilize that shit. My man Green Newbie, what's going on? My brother all the way from up north in Canada. What's good, man? He says, I'm not willing to leave my family and friends to live full time in another country. I can always spend months in another country without having to live there. Not a bad idea either. Not a bad idea. Some people are opting to do the 6 months on, 6 months off. Some people have said we'll do 9 months on, 3 months off, 3 months in country, 9 months out of country. There are a lot of people that have their own thoughts on what they believe to be accurate about how they want to live their life in retirement. Excuse me. And ideally, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. Whatever works best for you, whatever floats your boat, is how you guys are going to choose to live your best life when it's all said and done. But you do have those, such as myself, who have opted to say, when I'm retired, I'm moving full time to another country. And I believe that's worth it for me. Now, I get it. To leave behind family and friends is one of the hardest things that anybody can go through. I'll tell you the truth. When I went to the Philippines and I had to leave my mom, that shit was the hardest thing in the world to me. I was with the woman that raised me for the first 17, 18 years of my life. Like, even when my parents split up and shit, I went to go live with my mom. So it was like the hardest thing in the world for me to move away from the woman who protected me and took care of me for 18 plus years of my life. Oh, at that time it was 18. Yeah, about 18. Right? 18 is a month, right? When I officially made the move. So yeah, man, that was a hard pill to swallow. It was. And I was like, when I first got there to the Philippines, man, I was calling home I would say when I first started, it was like every day, every other day. Hey mom, how you doing? I guess it's the same when you go off to college and you're away from your family for a period of time. I guess the same rules apply, right? So I get it. I understand that if you got family and friends that you ride with and that are really intricate and very, very special in your life right now, it'll be hard. It'll be hard for anybody to make that move. But if you're like me, I have very few things that are keeping me in the United States. I guess that's just my mentality. I have very few attachments in the United States, which for me makes it easier for me to clock out whenever the fuck I want to. Yes, my mom is still here. Yes, my grandmother is still here. Yes, my auntie is still here. At the moment, my father is still here, but he would be in the Philippines as well if he could right now. So ideally, the only attachments that I have to the United States are limited at best. And again, it may change my mindset down the line wherein maybe I go to the Philippines for 11 months and come home for a month. That's the beauty of retirement, and that's damn sure the beauty of the finances or the financial situation that I pray to be able to put myself in so that I can actually do that. You know, come back home once a month, you know, just to spend some time with family and shit. You know, as I age, man, my family ages too, man. Like, you know, mom, dad, they're not spring chickens anymore, man. As I get older, everybody ages around me. So, you know, I hope and pray that things go well, but family can go through healthcare issues as well, healthcare scares as well. So ideally, you know, making that decision to move away and everything like that, you know, if you're not going to plan on coming back home, that could be a problem too, because you may miss out on family and friends if you have anything. But because of my limited attachments to the United States, I feel like I'll be all right. But then again, like I said, I got family that I love. So probably once a month out of the year, maybe even a little bit longer, depending on how I feel, I'll come back home and spend some time with family. I think my father goes up to Ohio, where he's from, Cadiz, Ohio, the home of Clark Gable. I think my father probably goes home once, every couple of years, if you're lucky. If he don't have a reason to go up there, he doesn't go home. But then again, like I said, it just depends on what attachments you have. He loves going home when he gets to go, but it's not something that he's looking forward to doing or something he feels obligated to do, you know? So it does depend on you. And if you don't feel like leaving home full time, don't go, man. Sometimes it's just not worth it. On and off. It works for some people, then I don't see why it wouldn't work for you. Philippines has the nicest people in the world. Very true, very accommodating. I agree. I understand exactly what you are saying when you say you have to see it for yourself. You do. It's an experience that you have to experience yourself. I can't explain the experience. You have to see it, feel the vibe, be a part of it, be in it to understand how it is that people can actually choose to live in a country like the Philippines, one that is considered to be third world and developing. Why in the world would we want to risk our lives to live in a place like that? Not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. That's one thing that I can say for sure. The Philippines has everything America has. Oh, wow. That's a hard one, man. The Philippines has everything America has. I can't say that I'm all the way in on that thought process and that philosophy, but what I can say is there's probably a generic version or a more lesser prominent version of something that the US has that the Philippines may have access to or may have available for foreigners. A knockoff brand of something. And if we're talking about healthcare, because I think that's where we were in the conversation when that came up, I can't say that I'm convinced that the healthcare system in the Philippines can compete with the healthcare system in America. I would never say that. So yeah, they do have hospitals. Yeah, they do have hospitals and they do have healthcare in the Philippines, but is it the same as that in the United States? I'm not comfortable enough to say that. So yeah, you can say that the Philippines has everything that America has, but are you willing to say that it's on par with the standards of that in the United States or that of the Western world? If you can say that confidently, I know that I cannot. I know that I cannot. No doubt in my mind. I can't confidently say that shit. All right. Shout out to my brother Earl Owens, man. He said, Doc, that amputation of the wrong leg happened a few times at the Veterans Administration Hospital in my hometown of Tampa. Damn. So I guess I can't even just say it was the incompetence of the surgeons in the Philippines, especially if that shit happening in the United States. Damn. I don't know what to say, my gentlemen. I do not know what to say. We got about 15 in the building, guys. I appreciate all 15 of you guys coming through, showing love to the good doc. You know the rules. Y'all make sure y'all caress, molest, and de-stress yourself all over that like button. If wanted, it needs it, it most definitely has to have it. You guys want to support the good doc and all of his future endeavors, please feel free to do so. But of course, I'm happy and blessed you choose to come through, spend a little bit of time with your boy today. And then let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. For those that are just clocking in with Doc, or just trying to catch up, we are talking about why would any expat want to move themselves to a third world country? What in the world are we thinking when we're thinking about moving to a third world country like the Philippines? Definitely interested to hear what you guys got to say. That's what the chat box is there for anybody who catches this on the replay. That is what the description, I'm sorry, not the description box. That is what the comment section is for. So have that like a crack addict. I would love to dialogue with you guys and hear what you guys would want to hear, what you guys have to say about foreigners, expats, anybody like that from a foreign country moving full time or off and on to the Philippines or a place considered to be third world. All right. My man Red, what's good with you, pimping? He says, what's good, Doc? Just stopping by for a second. I'm living that you only live once lifestyle. I'm going to die anyway. So I'm going to have as much fun while I can. Not going to sweat the small things. I agree. We shouldn't sweat the small things until the small things start to sweat us. What do I mean by that? Hey, if you start to feel a little twitch in your shit, you might want to get that checked out. If you start to feel a little numbness on your left-hand side of your body, you might want to get that checked out. So I wouldn't sweat the small things until the small things start to sweat me. But if that's the lifestyle choice that we choose, my brother, I'm with you on that one 100%, man. I'm not going to sweat the small things either. But if that's the way we're going to live, at least do the physical once a year. At least get a physical done. That's what I will do. I don't think you need to live in a hospital or anything or get paranoid about all that extra shit. Nah, I get it, man. Don't sweat the small things until the small things sweat you. All right. So for me, like I said, at least get a checkup once a month. Sorry. Too often, once every 6 months, once a year, just to make sure the ticker's still working, just to make sure you're still of sane mind, sound mind, and all the above. And I wouldn't sweat it either. I wouldn't. Like you said, you can't really sweat the small stuff, but then again, you do have to make sure that you take care of you. So as long as you are at least doing what you need to do to take care of you, you can live your expat lifestyle in a third world country, a first world country, second world country, or no country at all. You want to go live on Mars, my guy, go live on Mars, Venus, Pluto, whatever. Well, as long as you take care of you, that's all I could ever ask for. Because I want you guys to have longevity. That's what I'm starting to think about now. How can I prolong my life? And I know that's a crazy thing to talk about because, you know, we can all call it quits tomorrow. But ideally, what can we do health-wise to prolong our time on Earth? All right. I do think about that shit from time to time. Maybe you guys do. Maybe you don't. My boy JX, what's good? He said, I think after a certain age of health issues, everyone usually returns. If your health starts to fail, I kind of feel like it might be time to clock out. If you feel like your health overall is failing, there might be a moment. You're right. I think that everybody hits that certain age where if your health starts to fail, it might be time for you to clock out. Because there's no point in risking your life to get taken care of overseas and you're not 100% comfortable with the healthcare system in the first place. My man says, I trust hospitals in Singapore and South Korea. They probably are on point as needed. My man says, I already told my family, don't even worry about my body when I'm going. I told my people that too. I used to joke around, and I shouldn't joke about this shit, but I have like a twisted sense of humor. I'll admit it. But I used to tell people, bro, when I'm going, like I told my mom, I said, cremate me. Just cremate me. Just burn me. I don't give a shit. Like I said, once I'm going, I don't want to be buried anywhere. Don't spend all that money on no fucking casket. Don't bury me someplace that you come and visit every now and again. I told my girl that too. I said, yo, just burn me. Because I don't give a shit. Once I'm dead, I don't care. Like, what am I going to do? Like, fuck, I care after that. When I'm going, I'm going. Hey, I used to tell my girl, like, I was like, look, I said, if you love me enough, what you'll do is you'll burn me and you'll put my ashes in a crucifix that you wear around your neck for the rest of your life. I used to to fuck with. I said, I don't really care if she did that shit or not. But ideally, man, just burn me, bro. Don't waste the time. Don't waste time on funerals, man. I don't need you guys to say nice things about me. Just check out. Doc was a real one. Call it quits, and I'm good. Because once I'm gone, shit, I ain't nothing. What I'm gonna do? Cry over my own death? You know, I told my girl that the exact same thing. I'm like, bruh, just burn me and let it be done, please. Don't sweat the technique. Don't sweat the small shit. You know, cry over me. You know, just get it out your system. Hopefully you can. I don't want you to get over me too quick, but hopefully I don't want your life to turn to ruins because of me. You know, I want you to be celebrated. I want y'all to live your best life. Don't worry too much about me. Just get over it and get done. Burn me, call it a day, and be done. That's what I tell my people all the time. Like, look, don't waste the money on that shit. Any money that I leave you guys, because Doc's got his shit structured, even at a young age, man. I think about what type of shit I want to leave my family, what type of legacy, what type of financial setup I want to leave my people. Gotten it all taken care of. I got a will. I got it all. All right. So everybody gonna get it right. But I tell y'all, man, once I'm going, don't waste the money that I leave y'all on some bullshit like a cat made out of chicory and cherry wood and all that good shit. Cause look, man, I ain't gonna be able to enjoy it. What I'm gonna do? Just look good in my Versace suit, my Versace, not even Versace. Y'all gonna go to the swap meet and get me some Versace. I'm gonna look good in my Versace with my little cashmere pal hanging out, just looking spiffy as hell in this cashmere casket that I can't even enjoy. Fuck out of here, man. Them funeral homes is criminals sometimes. Hey, just burn me and call it a day, bro. Just burn me and get it over with. Because it's true, man. I'm not worried about it when I'm gone. I mean, maybe my mind will change when I'm older, but I doubt it, man. I don't want nobody wasting money on me and my death. Take my money and do good shit with it. Go invest in some. That's what I tell my people. My money is meant to be invested so that we can create this generational wealth that Doc has been trying to preach since day one. Nobody want to hear me, and it's okay if you don't. If it is okay, 100. If you don't feel me, you ain't got to feel me. You dig? I'll live, all right? I'll live. I'll get over it. Give me a second, guys. I know I'm missing out on comments, bro. Appreciate y'all coming through. Shit, I got to go all the way back. My bad. Here we go. My man says, if you die because you can't make it to a good hospital, there's no, what are you going to do? It's lights out. Pretty much, man. You're checked out. Like, oh, shit. If you got to think about what hospital you're going to go to in light of a very serious situation, you're not going to make it, man. Shout out to my brother, Manny. What's good with your family? Appreciate you coming through, showing Doc some love, man. My man says, it's the same thing every time I travel. Sad to leave, but happy to be home in a familiar surrounding. I admit, when I'm in the Philippines, there are certain foods that I miss. But now that I'm home, I'm eating the hell out of this shit. Get me back to my Filipino dishes, bro. Please. Got time for this. I miss my synagogue. I miss my girl making me synagogue. I miss my girl's adobo. I miss my girl's chicken curry, shrimp curry. I miss that shit. I miss the home cooked meals that my young lady used to make with me, because I know that her cooking for me made her just as happy as it made me. When I was on the phone with my girl the other day, she was like, I miss cooking for you. What girl says some shit like that? You feel me? Think about that. What girl in their right mind is going to think about, oh, I miss cooking for you. I miss doing things for you. Bruh. I feel you, man. Like, it blew my mind. But like I said, man, when it comes to, that happy and sad moment, because familiar surroundings is dope. I like being back in the United States. Not as much as I like being in the Philippines, but I don't mind being here. As long as I'm getting paid and I'm working and I'm doing what I need to do. Right? In the Philippines, I would rather be there. Y'all know that. But I'm not too pressed about not being there right now, because I know why I can't be there right now. But, the familiar surroundings, that's dope. Like, I feel that. But I also get that same vibe when I go to the Philippines, too. Like, this is familiar to me. It's weird. I'm very comfortable in the Philippines. Almost as comfortable. I feel comfortable saying this. I am more comfortable in the Philippines than I am in the United States. I will say that. More comfortable in the Philippines than I am in the United States. All right, 23 in the building, guys. Y'all make sure y'all drop the like for the good doc. I would highly appreciate that one. The Philippines, the bad things, spiders that get as big as your face, and it definitely gets hot. So that would definitely constitute some of the negatives, right? It gets extremely hot. That tropical climate, man, that shit got you sweating like you a damn slave in the field. I know. I've been there. I've done that. I've run through probably a plethora of t-shirts, man. More specifically, I have to change my shirts at least 3 times a day because that Philippine weather ain't nothing to mess with. All right. And those spiders, man, there's some nightmarish shit, man. I remember one time I had one in the house. I told you I almost gave up the house for him. I said, fuck it, bro. You can have this house. I ain't pay for it anyways. I ain't even want to be here. It's yours. You can pay. I'll even continue doing the payment on it. I'll continue paying the note on that bitch. But I have had moments where I've come in contact with those banana spiders, man. And I'm not arachnophobic, but I hate fucking spiders, bro. I hate spiders, man. I can't do spiders to save my life. And them big bitches, they be making it hard for the doc to live life. They truly do. I don't see them often, but when I see them, they love to make the grand appearance, right? Here's how it works for me. This is exactly how these spiders make the grandest fucking appearance in my life. So it always happens when I'm walking through a dark, in the, like when we were living in our house in Davao, it would always happen in the dark, right? And when I flip on a light, the motherfucker just staring at me with his full spread, bro, legs big as hell, just taking over the whole screen right now. Imagine if his legs were like on the screen, he was just taking over the whole damn screen. Big ass legs, spread out eagle, bro. He was ready. It almost looked like he was ready to attack, right? It always happens when I turn the light and I look around and this motherfucker staring at me like I'm staring at him. Because I guess they're attracted to the darkness or whatever it may be. So now my heart's about to pop out of my chest because I wasn't expecting it. It scared the hell out of me, right? So now I gotta figure out how to kill him, or if I'm just gonna find a way to let it go. I can't let it go because then everywhere that I go in every room that I'm in, I'm going to be extremely paranoid. I'm just going to think that the spider is going to jump out on me and fucking attack the hell out of me in every room that I go into, right? So now I got to find a way to kill him. Ain't nothing worse than if you don't have any Bygone to spray that bitch. now you put yourself in a situation where now I got to figure out how to kill this thing. Because I ain't got no spray to kill him. Because at least if you spray him real good, yeah, he might run around and shit and he could disappear. But chances are you'll find his ass dead a couple of hours later, curled up and shit. You know how they do? Their legs all curled up. So they kind of get a little smaller, they contract. You'll expect that, right? So for me, like if I ain't got sprayed, I remember one time I had to run full speed into the wall that he was in with a flip-flop. It was the scariest thing I ever did. I closed my eyes and I ran towards him and I smashed the hell out of him because I didn't have no choice. If I didn't do it, he was gonna take my house, bro. The motherfucker was going, he was going to treat me like his bitch. He was gonna take over the house. So I had no choice. I remember one time I told my girl to kill a spider for me. Was I embarrassed? Absolutely not. Because my girl can sit there and kill a spider. She don't give a shit. She's a savage. That's why I love her. Because when I can't do it, she gonna do it. And I've had her kill spiders for me before because Doc get that super paranoid feel, like my heart starting to pound and shit crazy. But yeah, man, them spiders ain't nothing to play with, bro. You're right. That's one thing that may deter foreigners from coming to the country, but you only find those usually in the provincial areas and stuff. Not so much the heavy city area. But yeah, those are some scary times, man. I want to live in the Philippines at a young age. I just hate the daily grind of American materialistic views. Yeah, me too, man. I have to admit, man, I owe my father and my mother everything, bro. They gave me an opportunity to experience the Philippines at the developmental stages of my life. That's the best way for me to put it. I had an opportunity to visit the Philippines during the intricate days and times of my life. Teenage, on the verge of my 20s and shit like that, man. And it was definitely an experience that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. If you are in your 50s and your 60s and your 70s or even your 80s, and now all of a sudden you're getting a chance to experience the Philippines, it probably will not be the same as if you had to experience in your younger age. If you are ailing or you're getting older and you're getting slower and you know your body's starting to kind of turn itself against you right now, it would not be ideal for you to try to move to the Philippines. I'm just going to say that out loud. Okay. If your body's turning against you, it may not be a good move for you to come to the Philippines. I want you to be able to enjoy it, not just live out the rest of your days because you just want to be next to some 18-year-old chick. Granted, that sounds so much fun, but are you really going to be able to enjoy it if you're ailing, though? I mean, let's be honest. See, here's the one thing that blows my mind. Okay, let me tell you a story, because Doc is known for his stories. Okay, so there was one time I was hurting for certain, bro. I was just hurting. I don't know what it was. Maybe my side was hurting. I don't know if I fell. Something happened. I was hurting. Have you ever tried to have sexual intimacy with your significant other when something on your body hurts? It is amplified times 10. Like, the pain does not go away. You cannot screw yourself through that pain. That pain is going to live with you forever, at least while you're trying to get it in. While you're trying to catch a nut. I've had moments wherein I tried to screw myself through the pain. And it made it worse, right? So imagine if you're older and you're ailing and shit hurts, right? You know, let's say you got bad knees, for an example. Missionary is not going to be a very comfortable position for you, gentlemen. Okay? Missionary is not going to do you well. Okay, let's say you got back pain. You're not going to be able to let the Filipina ride you like you hoped that you would. Okay, so now you got to come up with a very awkward position that is in a position where you're not hurting too bad when you're trying to catch a nut. Then you got to focus on catching your nut. And there ain't nothing worse than when your back hurt, when your knees hurt, and you're trying to focus on catching the nut, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing worse than that. You shouldn't have to worry about stuff like that. So ideally, yes, it may seem like a dream come true to be in your latter years and you get to spend your last days on earth with a beautiful 18-year-old Filipina riding you off into the sunset. That shit hurt, bro. I can almost guarantee you it's not as comfortable as you would probably imagine it would be. My man Manny says, been here for 2 years and I'm chilling. About to be 28 soon. Congratulations. I know my brother's a Scorpio like me, so yeah, your birthday. I think it comes just before mine, but it is what it is. So we got 16 watching and 11 likes. I pray that has changed since then. Let's get those likes up, man. Come on, don't do your boy that bad. Come on now. Like I said, supporting financially is a whole lot different than just dropping a like. I promise you, likes are free. I ain't gonna beg you for more than that. If you want to support, that is a personal choice. But at least drop a like for the good doc, man. I'd highly appreciate that one, man. 100. He said, I want a house there that's not far from the sea. There's plenty of places where you can buy a pretty decent house. We'll call it a house on the beach. Don't cost you much either. He says, you want to rethink having a house by the water here. Typhoon season is crazy. Yeah, I can't disagree with that one, man. And I think I think the Philippines just part of the Philippines just got hit by a typhoon recently as of this week. I can't remember exactly what typhoon it was, but yep, every time during September, man, Philippines be getting ate up by them typhoons, bro. It's like consistent as hell, and it sucks. I admit it sucks ass. You said you would have to pay for that yourself and a lawyer also. I forgot what I was talking about when you said that. My bad, bro. But yeah. My man says they believe Tondo is all of the Philippines. Yeah, that is true. See, but Manny, what's fucked up is a lot of these vloggers contributed to that one. They put Tondo on the map, and Tondo being one of the areas that is not the most favorable attractively by the eyes or appealing to the eyes as other places in the Philippines. Yeah. They kind of just drop. They look at Tondo, and Tondo is representation of the entire Philippines. Some people look at parts of Bonifacio Global City and think, all Philippines is modernized and all that shit. It's not. Hit and miss, ladies and gentlemen. Philippines is definitely hit and miss, man. He says, if your number is up while you're living in the Philippines, where would you like to be buried? I told my girl, do not put me in a casket he said, don't, he said, do not put me in a glass skin with the glass top. Yeah, don't do that shit. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, bitch. I'm hideous. Burn me. Yo, I remember what I told my girl. I remember now. Actually, I think I told my mom this. I don't know who the fuck I told this, but I told them when I was dead and gone, ladies and gentlemen, burn me and sprinkle my ashes in front of my favorite strip club. That's what I told them to do. I don't even have a favorite strip club. It was just a joke. But it sounded funny when I said it, though. I was like, yo, just bury me in front of my favorite strip club. I don't care. Shit. Let me live on in infamy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to be a grand patron and just my my ghost is gonna just be floating around and shit, just chilling, watching titties all day or something. I don't know. Just bury me in front of a strip club. I think I'll live my best life, or sprinkle my ashes in the dirt plot or some shit next to a strip club or something, so I can go watch some girls dancing or something. I don't know. That sounded cool when I said it, but you can just sprinkle me in the ocean or something. I don't really have a favorite place, so I don't know exactly where I would want you to sprinkle my ashes, because you're never gonna bury me. Just burn me, bitch. I told you. Just let me burn, like Usher, baby. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. And granted, I shouldn't think like that, but like I said, my body is nothing more than a vessel, ladies and gentlemen. This here is a vessel. This is the beautiful body that God gave me at birth. But I do believe in reincarnation, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe that I will come back more handsomer when I die. And trust me when I tell you, if I'm able to have the knowledge that I know now when I'm younger, please believe I'm going to fuck some shit up. Believe you me, homie. If I get a chance to relive my life, because I don't know why I believe in reincarnation. Like, I'll come back and somebody cool as fuck. You pray. Oh, I'm going to fuck some shit up. Why not, man? I'm gonna be nice about it. I'm gonna be courteous about it. I'm still gonna be a gentleman, but I'm gonna fuck some shit up though. Believe that shit. 9/11. Oh, I remember where I was when 9/11 hit. I was in my 6th grade class. I was in 6th grade. It happened while I was in middle school. Yeah. Tough times, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know what the hell was going on that time though. All I know is my teachers were just fucking crying and watching it, and I felt bad. But you didn't know the ramifications of it at 6th grade, But yeah, I remember where I was. I was in 6th grade class. You can age me by that if you want to. He said, in the past life, I was an electrician, so I've been in a lot of construction sites. I'm not saying American construction and safety is the best compared to the Philippines. Hold on. Let me get that right. I'm sorry. I'm not saying American construction and safety is the best, but compared to the Philippine construction, hell no. I feel you, man. Yo, Doc Ben on the Red Solo Cup. I feel you up. Let's have a party. He said you will see Filipinos going heavy construction and flip-flops. Them boys be up there mixing cement, spackling hollow block. Them bitches go hard in some flip-flops, bro. They be welding and shit in flip-flops. I'd be like, yo, you ain't afraid them sparks gonna fuck your feet up? No, they are not. They are not at all. He said it's all good English. All good speaking English. You take time to understand the culture. It's a dope spot to be at, I believe. I agree. I'd rather stay in the city for better medical care. I know my life in the province would be super cheap and chill. Medical services are lacking. Again, man, that's just the caveat. You gotta take the good with the bad, man. Good with the bad. He said Filipinos tell me there's 9 third worlds. There is. The Filipinos tell me their country is third world. Oh, okay. It is third world. It could be. I don't know. Shit. Shout out to my man Daniel Tanner. Mick Fisher, what's going on? Yeah, that's where my dad was born, man. Shout out to all of my people in Ohio, man. Buckeye State. We are definitely OSU fans. I never really talk about it, but yeah, we are definitely OSU fans. Ohio State Buckeyes is where it's at. Ride or die, bro. Ride or fucking die. I'm mad as hell they got rid of their coach, but he's coaching professional now in the NFL. And he got Tim Tebow to be the tight end on the team. Ain't that about a bitch, man? Look at guy. Urban Meyer, right? Urban Meyer. Well, we're not going to talk about football tonight because that could be a topic in itself. But yeah, man, my dad is from Cadiz, man. You can't even find Cadiz, Ohio on the map, bro. You can't even find Cadiz on the map. But if you Google where Clark Gable is from, that you'll know where my dad's hometown is. He said I could do a video about this, but I don't like putting my business out there very much. It's all about what you're comfortable with sharing with the audience, pimp. That's the best way I could tell you. It's all about how comfortable you feel. He said the Philippines don't have medical like the U.S. Doesn't even compare. Don't even compare, man. It doesn't. It's not the same. They have it, but it'll never be on par. Best way for me to put it. You have it, it'll just never be on par. He said that guy Mike in the Philippines video on him having a heart attack and dying was scary as hell. That sucked. And God rest that man's soul. Like I said, you don't wish... See, and he is really a perfect example of everything we've been talking about tonight in reference to health and things like that. And I, you know me, I don't really talk about other vloggers like that because that's just not my steez. But using Mike in the Philippines, I think his girl at the time is now officially running his channel. The last time I was told, but he was a perfect example of a foreigner that was dealing with some very unfortunate health issues, and it played out on his channel, you know, and we got to see it. But, you know, and of course you had naysayers who just weren't vibing with it, I know. But ideally he was a foreigner in his elder years. I don't think he was too old. I can't remember his age, but ideally he had some heart issues, and you know, he continued to spend the majority of his time in the Philippines. And unfortunately, this is where he met his maker, and the Philippines was where he met his maker. And you know, ideally at that point, you really have to start asking yourself the question, do I want to die here? If it's quick and swift, like, fuck it, man. Look, I'm here, I'm gone the next. Fuck it. It was a good ride. It's one of those moments you can't do anything about it, right? But if it's one of those moments where it's a continuous thing, or it's a continuous situation that's ongoing, it's like, at what point am I going to sit here and make the decision like, yo, bro, I really need to get the hell up out of here because I am not going to get better? At what point? You know, at what point do you have to address your health issues in a very honest manner? Oh my God, I can't leave the Philippines, bro. It's my life now. And maybe there were reasons why he couldn't leave. I don't know. But at what point do we get to the point where we're like, yo, man, this shit ain't worth my health. You feel me? This shit ain't worth it to me, you know? He said, well, as far as me, I have no family, so I would not be missing much if I leave. I live in Tampa, Florida, and I hate it here. All right. He said, only thing I love is the Buckeyes. I'm sorry, the Buccaneers. Why I say Buckeyes? And since it stays hot, the money you can make. You're a Buccaneers fan. Shit, y'all got Tom Brady. Congratulations. Mick Fisher, he said we will be on the same level as the Phils in no time. Uncle Joe is just getting rolling. Hey man, I try to avoid politics as much as humanly possible, but there's a lot going on here, bro. Ooh, United States politics ain't shit. Oh, shout out to my man Leo Faison. What's going with you, man? And my boy Roy Jones. What's good with you, man? My brother Cal Winston, what's good, man? Says they have everything, but a majority is not quality and at the same cost. To get what you want from the West, it costs more in the Philippines. Example, cars, electronics, etc., etc. Yeah, that's true. And maybe even healthcare could be a little bit on the expensive side, depending. If something simple, something basic, no. But if we're talking about major surgeries and things like that, who knows what the cost of that stuff could be for you as a foreigner. For the locals, it may be a whole different price, man. That's one thing that scared me too, man. I feel like in the Philippines, man, they have a tendency to run them numbers of foreigners, man. I think you definitely gonna be paying foreign price, because when you look at your bill, there's a lot of things that are inclusive in that thing, like, oh, this fee and that shit. And normally that's at every hospital. So with all of these different fees that you're forced to have to deal with, or you're forced to have to contend with, you know, you can't sit there and go through everything and say, nigga, I paid for the air conditioning in my room. damn, man, I had to pay for the doctor to drive to come see me. You know, unless you read the fine print and all of the details, man, you're probably going to miss some things, right? And I do believe that, you know, since you don't know the standard rate of a lot of these things, I would not be surprised if they ran them numbers up on the foreigner. We talk about the skin tax and the foreigner tax and all of that stuff. For the majority of the shit that you have done in the Philippines, you could probably, you probably won't end up paying as much as you would in the United States. Not often. Maybe every now and again, there might be something that you have done that may cost you more in the Philippines than it would in the United States. It's very rare. But again, some situations occur where things like that happen. And let us not forget, ladies and gentlemen, you can't leave the hospital till you pay your tab. It's not like in the United States wherein you can leave and they'll send the bill to your house. Nah, motherfucker, they don't play that. You ain't leaving this piece here until I get my money. Filipinos ain't letting you leave shit until they get paid. Say that one more time. They ain't letting you leave until they get paid. Something you need to think about. All right, something you definitely need to think about. But yes, cars, electronics, things like that, way more expensive in the Philippines than it is in the United States. True that. I think an iPhone cost like $2,000 when they first came out. I can't remember what model iPhone that was, but everybody had to have it. Actually, to be more specific, it was 98,000 pesos. How much is that? Hold on. I don't have my phone. How much is 98K? If you just did the rate of 50, how much is 98,000 pesos? Because that's how much they were charging for the iPhones when they first came out. And the artistas and the people who could afford it were definitely buying that shit. So 98,000 pesos was the cost of an iPhone. I can't remember what model number it was, but I was still in the Philippines when it came out. So yeah. My man says electronics are the cheapest I've ever seen in the world here, unless you're talking about iPhones. Yeah, I'm talking about iPhones. I'm talking about iPhones. Yeah, but you can get Cloud Phone, you can get the Simple Mobile, you can get the Cherry Mobile. You know what it is, man. I be buying them cheap ass phones. Hey, for every girl that ever asked me for a phone, I be getting them cheap shits. Them motherfucker work for like 3 months. I should be working for like 3 months. And she'd be like, my phone stopped working. I'd be like, oops. So then I used to get them knockoff secondhand joints, little flip phones. But girls, when they be asking for phones and shit, they don't want that cheap shit. They want a smartphone. They want a phone they can take pictures with. You know what I mean? They want phones they can access Facebook on. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to be careful when it comes to that shit. Oppo, Huawei, those are some pretty solid brands, though. The Oppo and Huawei, actually, Oppo, I like Oppo. I have a Samsung, and I'll fuck with Samsung till the day that I die. But Philippine, if you didn't want to buy nothing was international, whatever, whatnot, Oppo and Huawei's, they call them Hua, you know what they call it. Let me fucking name up. I think it's called Huawei. Those two brands are the two top brands in Asia for sure. Oppo, definitely number one. They're really good. And Huawei, those would be the only two phones that I would buy outside of an iPhone and a Samsung in the Philippines, man. All the other knockoff brands, good luck to you, my buddy. Good luck to you. All right. But yes, we're talking more specifically about iPhones. I know. Them shits is expensive as hell, bro. He says, as an American visiting in a hospital in the Philippines, you feel extremely uncomfortable in a Philippine hospital. True. Especially in the province. Feels like you went back to the 1940s, man. And you know what's weird, man? I think the one thing that we really don't take into consideration is sanitation. One thing that we do not take into consideration is sanitation. Are we going to honestly believe that a Philippine hospital is in the province, more specifically, a Philippine hospital in the province is going to be up to par sanitary-wise? Man, half the restaurants we go to isn't even up to par to sanitation. So we're going to trust our lives to a Philippine hospital? I don't know, bro. I don't know, dog. I don't know, dog. Who knows if them sheets are clean? That's like going to that's literally like going to a short time hotel and expecting them sheets being clean after the last person who nutted on them. It's like, what? Motherfucker, I'm here to get this money. I might have flipped them sheets inside out, turned them around so that the nut stain is at the bottom instead of the top. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you motherfucker, you trying to get your nut or what? Are you really gonna care? Probably not. If you're dying or you on your last leg, do you think the first thing on your mind is going to be the sanitation at the hospital? Probably not. So ideally, when it comes to provincial hospitals, you definitely have to be skeptical of how sanitary it's going to be for you. Imagine if you had an open wound or some shit, man. Your shit breathing in all this bacteria and shit that may be in the air. It's a nightmare, people. It's a goddamn nightmare. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It is cheaper in the U.S. Example, laptops, cell phones, TVs. If you compare the same specs, example of specs, $600 laptop in the Philippines, be like $400 in the U.S. Something to that effect. I think it's the taxes and the tariffs and stuff like that. The cost of shipping to that particular country. It all plays a part. I still think Apple iPhone be raping the hell out of people. Just being real. That's an honest opinion, bro. That's a fucking honest opinion. It's just me and Timothy. I can't stand the rain. What's up with y'all? My man Jamal says we doing the most at black funerals, bro. We gotta get the mahogany draped. I gotta have the suede inside. My little Versace, man. My Versace outfit gonna be popping, bro. I want all my homies to carry me out. I gotta make sure that the funeral home lets my people ride in the limo and all that shit, man. Fuck all that. Burn me and sprinkle my ashes at a strip club, please. Just let me see some titties in my life. I'm happy. I don't ask much. Shout out to my man Jerry's Philippine and beyond. What's going on with you, man? Yeah, I can agree. I was thinking things along the lines of phone chargers, power banks, even some appliances are pretty cheap. Shout out to what's my place, bro? Oh God, man, what is that place that sells damn near everything? Fuck, come on, Doc. I want to say Data Blitz, but it's not Data Blitz. It is not Data Blitz. There's this one place that sells Chinese everything, charges all kinds of shit. That should be the cheapest I've ever seen in my life. The colors of the store are yellow and blue. It's like usually at the top of like the mall or some shit in its own little corner. I forget the name of it, but that place has everything. They sell everything for the cheap. Believe you me, man. Believe you me. Jerry, I don't have my headphones with me, brother. I'm sorry. I would love to bring you on. I do not have my headphones so that I can block out the echo, man. I don't know what the hell happened to them. I can't use my Bluetooth ones unless I set up my phone and shit. But, bro, I would love to have you on as a guest, man. We might need to set up a show. Jerry, I'm going to email you, and we'll set up a show where we can just have some fun, all right? So just let me focus on that one. I got to get a new pair of headphones because mine are effed up, and I can't Bluetooth it to my laptop. That's nonsense. Fucked up. Going for relationships with genuine people. We are disenchanted with the breakdown of the family in the West. Massive divorce rates here, always initiated by females. A second chance at a happy life. Is that why we're choosing to go to the Philippines? Maybe. You said, got to learn how to make that stuff, Doc. I do know how to make synagogue and adobo and all that shit, but I like it more when my girl does it because it's cooked with love, man. Shit, when baby girl puts that pot on, I know it's about to be some magic in that bitch. That's why I like it. Come on, man. Gotta let your girl do the things for you that make you happy. And she love that shit. She like cooking for me. Don't mean I can't cook the shit myself, but it's a little bit more special when it's made with the special hands. That's all it is, man. She like doing it. Why do I want to stand there in front of my young lady's happiness? Huh? If she like to do it for me, why do I want to stand in front of her happiness? He said it was either Philippines or Brazil. A man's last request was to be cremated. Well, they began the process of the cremation. Then they heard screams. Well, damn. I would hope you would make sure I'm dead first, man. Damn. I mean, yeah, I don't want to be burned alive, nor do I want to be buried alive. So please make sure I'm dead first before you try to do all that other shit. Please. My man says, forget that. The giant cockroaches are bad too. That shit is scared the hell out of you too. But I can step on a cockroach. I can't step on a big ass spider, bro. My heart can't take it. When them spiders got their legs spread all the way out, bro, that's enough to fucking give me a heart attack. Okay? It's enough to give me a heart attack. But those cockroaches are a little bit more consistent too. 100%. They are way more consistent than the spider. You'll see the cockroaches more than you'll see the spiders. But when you see them spiders, good God Almighty, that's a wake up call. I will tell you that. It all comes out cheaper in the Philippines since you have cheaper rent, services, traveling, eating out. If you are not into buying the latest gadgets, cars, and stuff, you will definitely come out cheaper in the Philippines if you are modest in the way you choose to live your life. True. The Philippines is a very budget-friendly place, depending on how you live. It can be very budget-friendly. All right. He says, talking about insects. He says, talking about insects are the large ones. In Baguio City, is there less large insects there since it's... Oh, there is less... okay, let me read. Let me get my mind together, Doc. So in Baguio, the insects are not as large since they're higher up in the mountains. I never thought about that. That could definitely be a reason. I actually never been to Baguio yet. My dad's been there, but I would hope that I don't have to encounter any bugs at all. Ideally, I pray I never have to. But it's always going to come a time in every man's life where he got to be about that life. Got to be a straight up savage. Anyway, is that what? Hey, Manny, that's what you was talking about? Maybe Manny was getting on me about killing bugs earlier. My bad, bro. But if you told me, I think you might have been referring to, you may have been referring to the killing bugs, not the cooking. I'm sorry. But yeah, shit, man, let my girl be a savage, man. I got to let her do the things that make her happy. And if killing bugs and cooking for me is what it takes, hey, who am I to stand in the way of my young lady's happiness? All right. I will not do that. If it makes her happy to do it for me, I got that. It is because of the tariffs the government's puts on them, makes them more expensive. Yes, Green Newbie, I do believe it is definitely the tariffs, the taxes, whatever it costs to ship it to the country. 100%. I agree. Music, electronics, accessories are cheaper in the Philippines. They got some great phones. Great phones. He says, Mike, I will really be able to enjoy it. I'm sure you will, my friend. There is this one place in the Philippines, man. It's like a massive shop, bro. I cannot think of the name of that store to save my life. They have them every mall that I've ever been in. It's a Chinese-owned place where they sell a lot of not even knockoff, but like chargers and shit for electronics and stuff like that. I just can't remember the name of it, and I'm gonna kill myself until I get it. I promise you, I will. If you are in pain, same way, why be in pain alone in the U.S.? That's a great... That's actually not a bad point to make. If you are alone and in pain in the U.S., at least you can be with somebody in the Philippines. I think that's what you mean. Hey, why would you want to be in pain alone? I know, but trying to fuck through the pain is tough, my friend. I've tried it. It don't work. It don't work at all, man. It makes it worse. Shout out to my man Styles. What's good with you, man? He says, Dr. Mike, you obviously ain't from Florida. Big ass bugs and everything, I'm sure. Hey, no, I'm not in Florida. I'm from the great state of North Kakalaki, and I've traveled as far south as South Carolina, South Kakalaki. So I don't know nothing about them big ass bugs in the deep, deep south. Y'all can keep them swamp, water moccasins, keep all that shit down there. Y'all can have that. Doc is a city boy in the country. Okay, I don't play games with them bugs, bro. Y'all can keep them. I am horrible. I'm horrible. Don't get that. I'm not the one, bro. I am not the guy. Shout out to my brother Robert. What's good, man? Hey, man, get your money, man. This should be here tomorrow. Should be the next day, bro. If y'all ain't here to catch the live show, it's all good, man. Make sure you leave a comment down on how you feel about the Philippines being labeled as a third world country, how you feel about being an expat and potentially thinking about moving to the Philippines long term, or why in the world do you think a foreigner in his sane mind would choose to live a life abroad in the Philippines, aka a country that is considered to be third world / developing? I'm very, very interested to hear what you guys got to say about that one. Why would a foreigner in his right mind move to a third world country? Why do we want to move here? What is so special about the Philippines? opinion, what is so special about it? What keeps you coming back? That's the question. What keeps you coming back? What keeps you intertwined? What keeps you intrigued? What keeps you with the idea that makes you feel as though, yo, man, when it's time for me to punch my ticket and I'm done with this shit, I want to go to the Philippines. I do, however, I do have one suggestion, though. I do have one suggestion because I think we've never talked about this one in its entirety, but I do want to say this out loud because I do think it is very important for me to say this. Okay, so make sure you guys are sitting down with your popcorn. Just make sure you guys are paying attention. Okay. All right. And if you haven't dropped your like, drop your like immediately. Okay. I do not want you to commit yourself to the Philippines without coming to visit the Philippines first. I have heard a lot of guys that say, yeah, man, when I retire, man, I'm going to come to the Philippines and I'm going to enjoy my life. There are some people that have already made the commitment to the country before coming to the country. And I always found that to be a little bit like, it was never off-putting, but it was kind of weird that you would choose to commit yourself to a country that you never tried to visit at least one time before. And it threw me off a little bit. But I've had a lot of guys tell me, yo, man, come to the Philippines. Have you been to the Philippines before? Not yet, man. It's going to be my first time, but I'm going to go ahead and retire there. Wait a minute. Stop the show. My bad, y'all. My computer acting a monkey thing. Anyways, like I was saying until I was really interrupted by myself. You gonna choose to commit to a country you ain't never lived before? That's interesting because I would never choose to live in a country I have never lived before, you know? But I've had a lot of guys made that commitment, and I'm definitely skeptical about it. So please visit the Philippines before you choose to call it your second home or the place you're going to retire in. I shouldn't have to tell you that, but I have had guys who have made the commitment. I mean, I would hope that they had already made a plan to visit there, to making a commitment, stay for a couple of months, see how they feel, come back to the United States, handle their affairs, all of the above, and then make the trip. I don't know, dog. But yeah, some people do that shit. My man says, Manila reminds me of New York. Pretty boutiques on one block and dope fiends, shanty towns on another. Yeah, that's pretty much the Philippines all encompassing. Yo, if I was going to make a 1-minute video about the Philippines like Oh Boy did, I'm going to be like, bam, here you go. Dope fiends in the Philippines on one block, beautiful boutiques on another. That's the Philippines in 1 minute. It's more fun in the Philippines. Yeah, have me some pretty bitches in the background and this some fiends in the background. Yeah, welcome to the Philippines, bro. This shit is real. This struggle is real. I hate all that flowery shit, bro. I've been through it. I've been that guy before. I don't want to be that dude no more. He says the Philippines, the only thing I will not leave behind is my dog. Not the animals, man. I love my dog too. I couldn't leave him to say. Actually, I could. I could leave his ass. He ain't all that special to me. He says I have no family to hug or say I love you to. I think you can travel with animals. I had a friend that brought an animal with her from the U.S. to the Philippines. I think it's expensive as hell, but can't be done. Always have your will updated. Damn right, man. I got my will has been not even revised, but at least looked at within the last month. So I shouldn't have to worry about touching it anytime soon. Big brother, what's good with you, man? He says, my limited experience in the Philippines bureaucracy put me off any idea of living in the Philippines permanently. Plus, if one has a family or grandkids, I think it's better to stay closer. Yeah, you don't want your grandkids to grow up without you. I feel you on that one, man. Definitely don't want your kids to grow up without you because you got to be the one to part that wisdom. You got to be the one to give them that wisdom, man. Jerry, yeah, man, $98K, $2,000 almost. Man, I don't make no damn sense, bro. For a phone? For a phone, my friend? No, not happening. He said, I had surgery at a Philippine provincial hospital and made it out alive. Bruh. See, I'm not convinced by that, man. I'm not convinced by that. You got to definitively say, yeah, I had surgery in the Philippines, man. It was good. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any problems. When you sit there and tell me that you made it out alive, that lets me know that you, that's a little skeptical, my friend. That makes me think a little bit like, bro, you made it out alive? Did they try to fucking kill you or something? What am I missing? You know what I mean? So yeah, you gotta say that shit with more confidence, my friend. Gotta say that shit with more confidence. Shout out to my man Mike G. What's good with you, man? Appreciate you coming through. Always love. He says if you're not going for pay for play, then the Philippines can be cheap. Very true. Get you a girlfriend, somebody to settle down with, or at least chill with and spend time with. One at a time, you might do all right. You just do all right. He said, I got great care in the provincial hospital. I stayed 4 days and they was always super nice and cleaning daily. Some provincial hospitals may not be as bad, man. I've been to provincial hospitals where I was a little bit skeptical. Maybe where you were at, they took care of that stuff, and that's ideal. You know, that's cool. I would ask you this though, my friend. If you had a major surgery coming up, would you trust your life in the hands of them provincial doctors? If you have something major that needed to be taken care of, would you trust your life in the hands of those provincial hospitals? That's all I will ask, my friend. He says, if you are referring to glass bottles for IV, it's the same stuff, just in a different container. I think I might be missing that conversation. Did I say something about that? What keeps us coming back? What kind of question is that? The islands, of course, 7,000. I think about it. What else would anyone go to the Philippines for? I was asking a general question to the general audience, my friend. What keeps you coming back to the Philippines? Why do I need to spend my time here? Of course, we know the answer. At least I know the answer. You know the answer. A couple of my guys know the answer. But everybody's reason can be different. Maybe somebody fell in love with a little, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. But you get the point. Everybody's reasoning will be different. All right. So he says, I was under the assumption that Ukraine was a third world country. Some of them act like they are suffering, but they are just greedy. You know the game, bro. Everybody going to have their hand out, bro. Everybody got their hand out, bro. My man says there is a million reasons why. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. He says, have your money right. Don't be that one that goes to the Philippines with no money and no plan. I agree. The Philippines is a beautiful country, and if you are retired coming from New York, it is the place to be. I do believe that Manila very closely resembles the New York area. True. But definitely everybody's reasoning will be different, so to each their own. I agree 100%, man. Major surgery, it's Makati Medical City, or St. Luke's for me. And there are no exceptions. Exactly. You get that little shit done in them small hospitals. That major shit, you got to go to the spot. Don't play games. There are wacky doctors in New York and all over this world. Don't just blame the Philippines. Oh no, it's not a blame thing. It has not there. Yeah, you're right. Incompetency does exist everywhere, but ideally, if a doctor in the United States is incompetent, I can sue his ass. You know, if a doctor in the United States is incompetent and clearly makes a mistake, I have a chance, albeit limited chance, to get something from him as a result of his incompetence. You're going to try to sue a doctor in the Philippines? Good luck. You probably make more money than a doctor in the Philippines does. So how in the hell are you going to get blood from a turnip? I mean, that's the only way I look at it. At least if they're incompetent in your own home country, there could be some ramifications as a result of their incompetence, right? So that's why I say major surgery and things like that. You want to put your life in the hands of somebody who's at least good, if not the best at whatever it is they do. And chances are, I'm not going to say that the best surgeons are in the United States because that's some bullshit. But I will say that if they do fuck up, there's a chance for you to get that bag. You know, that's really one of the underlying reasons, at least, why I would opt to tell you that major surgeries and things like that definitely need to be done in the United States or in your own home country, because ramifications can be taken as a result of their incompetence. You know, you can't sue no Philippine doctor when you probably make more money than they do. And I'm just saying that to be funny, but I'm also saying that to be real. I mean, they make good money. They make fucking fantastic money, but ideally, depending on what your job is in the United States, you may clear more money than they do. So, something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and shout my kinfolk and my skinfolk out, call y'all out, and then I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. Shout out to my brother Edward Crandell, my man Pissed Off Bus Driver. What's good with you? SML, Tom Patrick, my man Mr. Bumby, appreciate you being here. Learning Something Worldwide, my brother Jamal, Jaws 2003, appreciate you coming through, my man. Smooth, I'm a man, Eyes On, appreciate you coming through. Green Newbie, my man Marquise, it's been a while, man. Good to see you in the building, man. Chosen One, thank you for showing up. Earl Owens, my man Red, I know he's out, he's checked out, but appreciate you showing up too. My brother JX, appreciate you being here. Mr. Smith, you already know what it is, baby. Nothing but love. My man Manny from Get Lost Vlogs, man. Appreciate the time and the energy, man. Hope life is treating you well across the water. All right. If I miss your name, leave it down at the bottom. I'll make sure I shout you out accordingly. Just give the doc a chance. This man name is Wawa. Okay. I'm sorry, my brother. If that's the name you want me to call you, I'll call you that. I just want to make sure I didn't fuck it up. All right. But much love to you, my friend. Good looking out. Appreciate you spending some time. My man Mick Fisher. Appreciate you coming through, man. All love. Daniel Tanner. I see you, my brother. I'm sorry. There you go. Daniel. Appreciate you coming through, spending some time with the doc. SML. I know I shouted you out, but I'm giving it to you again. My brother Leo Faison. My boy Roy Jones. What's good with you, pimping? Cal Winston, man. Appreciate the love. Jerry from Philippines and beyond, man. Appreciate the love, man. Thank you for coming through, spending some time with us today. Appreciate you. I appreciate you and your presence, man. If you guys aren't subscribed to my man Jerry's channel, man, please make sure you check his channel out as well. Right, my man JD, appreciate you being here. Paul S, man, appreciate the time. Y'all are locking in. My man Styles, appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate you spending some time with Doc today. My man Robert Morris, you already know what it is. Appreciate you locking in. Big brother from another, appreciate you being here, man. Mike G, I see you, man. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Mango Shakes and Mango. I appreciate your time, man. And I don't disagree that some provincial hospitals may be on par, but is it an expectation that you expect them all to be like that? I've seen some bad ones. Maybe the one you went to was ideal, and that's dope. I've just seen some pretty interesting ones, and I wouldn't trust my life in a lot of those places. All right. The man only known as EXPAT. Sound good to me. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you locking in with Doc, man. Appreciate you spending some time here. If I miss names, by all means, you know what it is, man. My man says, soon won't get you anything in the Philippines. If you have a slip and fall in the supermarket, it's your own damn fault. That's what I'm talking about. They don't give a shit. Yeah, try to get some money out of that. Just try. I wish you would. I want to see a foreigner try to sue somebody in the Philippines. I do. And actually win. If you win, dude, I will cover your story, just because it's very rare that a foreigner go get the W in the Philippines. That's all I'm saying. So if you go through major surgery and things like that and you get messed up, who you gonna blame? You know what I mean? It's things I think about. But yeah, if I at least I have a fighting chance in the United States if they fucking me up. I have a fighting chance in the US if I get messed up over there. Right? I ain't gonna take my chances, man, in the Philippines thinking I'm gonna check from them. Not gonna happen. If the Philippines don't want to give you money back for products that you don't want and you want to try to bring them back to the store, if they don't want to give you money back for that, what the hell make you think they're gonna try to get you some money from a major surgery or a major issue that you suffer as a result of surgery complications in the Philippines? They probably got you signing all types of forms and consent forms and stuff to make them not liable for their fuck up, probably. So things to think about. He said most VA hospitals and clinics are 70% Philippines. So I would trust them. Touche. Hey, To each their own, my brother. Actually, you're right though, because there are a couple of hospitals that are VA. How do you say this? Like the VA recommends a lot of these hospitals to veterans and stuff for them to see. I don't know, man. I'm just skeptical. Just skeptical. Again, you only live once, man. Live your best life. You'll be all right. Maximus, what's going on with your family? Appreciate you coming through. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the last individual that I'm going to shout out today, unless another name pops up on the screen. But ideally, guys, there are 1,000,001 reasons why a lot of foreigners choose to and or opt to come to the Philippines and live out their best life in a third world / developing country. What your reasons are may be different from others, but ideally, man, as long as you're happy, as long as you're complacent, as long as you are content with the decision that you made to call the Philippines your home for the long term after you retire, live in that truth. Ladies and gentlemen, live in your truth and live your best life. I understand those guys that will be like, yo, man, I'm 6 months in, 6 months out, or whatever your fluctuation within your months in the country and your months out the country, whatever that fluctuation may be. I agree, because everybody's got to live their life to the best of their abilities. And sometimes it's not going to just be full-time one place and, that's it. And I understand your reasoning why. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for your energy. My man, Earl Owens, always love, man, all the way from the great state of Tacoma, Washington. Always love my brother. Anyways, it has been fun, ladies and gentlemen. It has been real, but I'm going to go and let y'all get to getting. So with that being said, the good doc and himself are officially out, at least, which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Sincerely do. Mahakita. Mabuhay. Peace.